Welcome. I'm so happy to be here today with my good friend Rand Stagen, who has been a partner of First United for quite some time. They have been partners with us for over 8 years, and someone I met in search of how do I grow and scale First United Bank. And today, Rand, we're here talking to our small business customers. And I know your company has done a lot of work in the area of personal development with small business entrepreneurs. And what kind of advice would you give them today?
Yeah, I think the opportunity for an entrepreneur, a small business owner, to really look at themselves, sort of look in the mirror and ask, what am I doing or not doing to create the conditions of success in my business? And a lot of times, small business owners are wanting to sort of look for reasons that they're not getting the kind of traction that they want to their employees, or look out to their customers, or look out to the marketplace, or even look to their competitors. And what we've learned is that one of the most effective ways for small business owners and for leaders to actually create change in their business is to actually start to create change in themselves. And I'll often talk to an entrepreneur, and I'll say, tell me what's going on, and what are you struggling with? And they'll say, well, one of the problems I'm having is that the person who's responsible for sales isn't doing a good job, and the person who's running my books isn't doing a good job, and my operational person is just not taking care of business. And then I'll pause and I'll say, well, who hired those 3 people? And they'll say, well, I did. And I said, okay, well, if you hired those 3 people, then who's responsible for training and developing them to be able to do those jobs, or putting people in those roles that actually are a little bit more equipped? And so this idea that that there's a chance for us to just take sometimes called unconditional responsibility, to just look in the mirror and say, what am I doing to actually create the frustration that I'm having in my business? And so it's this idea of really the relationship between my development and the business's growth and development.
Is there a cap to that growth?
From a small business standpoint?
Yeah. Is there?
Yeah, it's a great question. In our years of working with small business owners, we've not seen any cap in the business. And what we found is that the business can grow at the rate that the leader can grow. And people will sometimes say to me, Rand, you've been doing this work with small businesses and mid-sized businesses for many years. What's the one big insight that you've had? And I can say it in one statement, that I've learned that leaders get the organization they deserve. And people are like, wow, so leaders get the organization they deserve. And so the business is a reflection of the leader. And so the only cap I see is the cap, not of the business, but of the person who's actually running the business.
What type of work does it really take to develop those leadership skills that you're talking about?
I think the foundation for any kind of learning and growth is just a recognition that we all have an opportunity to expand, and we all have an opportunity to become more effective as leaders. It's this idea of the distinction between the mindset of the knower, who thinks that he or she has it all figured out, and the learner. And the attitude says, am I coming from a place of knowing or learning? And if I'm a learner, I have an open mind, and I'm wanting to grow and develop. So I think that's the foundation, is just being open to becoming better.
If you had to give one piece of advice to our small business customer, what would that be?
One piece of advice.
Yeah, one thing. What could they do?
I really think the one thing that I would always coach a small business owner to do is to go to their employees, and this is hard. You might have 5 employees or 10 employees, and sit down with them one-on-one and say, if you could pick one thing as part of this team that I could improve as a leader, what's the one thing that I could do to make me a better leader for you, to make me more effective? What would that be? And what we've had is so many entrepreneurs come back and say, I sat down with my 8 employees, and then 4 of the 8 employees basically said the same thing. I could do a better job at communicating. And then really, instead of me or you trying to identify what's the one thing they could work on, is have the small business owner go to the employees and say, what's the one thing I could work on? That takes some humility to be able to do that, but it's a really, really powerful practice.
I love that, because it really is the first step of creating the learning organization, with the leader saying, hey, I'm going to be a learner. I don't know everything. Right. And it really puts the right seed into that small business. So, Rand, thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a great friend to First United Bank, and God bless, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.